Good morning, and welcome to the February 9th, 2021 regular school board meeting, which I now call to order. This morning, we have the invocation by Chaplain Milton Smith, who's a first responder and a chaplain, joining us via Zoom. It will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem, which will be performed by the Palm Harbor University High School after-school specials under the direction of the choral director, Blake Hudson. So will you please stand?
First of all, thank you to the commission for allowing me to do this morning. Thank you for all what you do during these trying times. The children are our greatest asset. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come grateful for another day that we can see our loved ones, another day that we can celebrate life. We are ungrateful. We are grateful for a day that we can look around and see your glorious creation. In this time of challenges, this season of COVID, we pray that you will continue to direct and guide the decisions of our Pinellas County School Board. We pray for our superintendent as he leads our schools. We pray today for the school principals, teachers, and staff members as they continue to teach our children in different and unique ways. But most of all, we pray for the children who have had to often adapt to different ways of learning. We pray for their families, that you would keep them safe and out of harm's way. As this board navigates to the path of moving forward, bless them and bless their every decision as only you can. And for this, we give you praise. For it is in your precious name we ask these blessings. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good. Well, thank you, Chaplain Milton, with all first responders. We appreciate you joining us today. And we will now move to the video. Nice job with the national anthem, too, from the after-school specials. Every year, the ESE students at Cypress Woods Elementary make and sell big game bracelets as an economics project and fundraiser. Well, this year, since the Bucks made it to the Super Bowl, the bracelets flew off the shelf, and the class sold more than 1,600 as of last Tuesday. The class even sent bracelets to the Buccaneers players. So let's meet the teachers and students behind this wonderful project.
Big game bracelets! I'm really excited to tell everyone that our students with special needs here at Cypress Woods every year have a huge economics project called Big Game Bracelets. So our students make bracelets for the community, the school. We're very excited, and the students are very excited that our Bucks are back in the Super Bowl. So it is that hometown excitement.
Yay, Bucks!
The closest we've ever gotten to the Super Bowl was in 2016 when one of our colleagues in the district's son was part of the Broncos, and they wore their big game bracelets there. So that was very exciting.
I like how you do them two at a time, so you don't miss one.
Our students learn so much. We work on all kinds of skills during this unit. It's not just an economics unit. We work on math. We do a lot of graphing of our sales. We talk about supply and demand. We talk about our gains and our losses, how much we have to put out for our supplies.
This economics project is so important first for our students. They have real world experience. They feel like they are such a part of this community. They feel like superstars. I'm excited that we are fervently making bracelets right now to send to our Bucks, and hopefully they will wear them during the Super Bowl. And Tom Brady, if you're watching, I am your greatest fan. Go Bucks!
Go Bucks! Go Bucks!
Go Bucks!
Well, this was certainly a successful economics project, and I think those bracelets may have helped motivate the Bucks players to their, maybe they were part of that 31-9 win. So congratulations on what you have done, and thank you for sharing it with us. We'll now move to the presentation of students' rights and responsibilities. With the, we will have the introduction of people representing various organizations with Isabella Mascarenas.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Grego, and staff. It is my pleasure to introduce the following representatives of community and professional organizations. From the Pinellas Classroom Teachers Association, Nancy Velarde, President. And from the Pinellas Arts for a Complete Education Coalition, Victoria Hagedorn, co-chair. Today we have a presentation from the Student Rights and Responsibility Committee. Please welcome student Paige Glossop from Palm Harbor University High School and their principal, who is here with us, Kristen Gonzalez.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the school board, Dr. Grego, and staff. My name is Paige Glossop, and I'm a senior at Palm Harbor University High School in the Medical Magnet program. Throughout these 4 years, the teachers and staff have continuously guided and supported me to be successful and prepare for the next step in my academic career. The investments that the teachers and staff make also ensure that we are well-rounded individuals for our families, communities, and friends. As I mentioned earlier, I'm enrolled in the Medical Magnet program here at Palm Harbor University. I'm currently enrolled in all 4 medical certification classes, including Certified Nursing Assistant, Emergency Medical Responder, Electrocardiogram Technician, and Exercise Science. From the time I stepped on the Palm Harbor campus, I have felt that the teachers have prepared us to be successful in our post-high school path, whether it's medical or otherwise. The Medical Magnet program has inspired me to continue my academic career majoring in kinesiology. Our phenomenal coaching staff for all sports at Palm Harbor continually invest in our athletes outside the classroom. They support our student athletes in sports and help them thrive in their academic careers as well. This year, our sports teams had some monumental moments. The PHE wrestling team are PCAC champions, where all 13 of our wrestlers are on the podium, alongside the 7 individual champions, a first for Palm Harbor. Our girls soccer team with both the boys and girls golf team have claimed the PCAC championship yet again. And our boys swim team were PCAC runner-ups. In addition, our varsity football team made it to the quarter round of the playoffs for the 2nd time in school history. Our student athletes here at Palm Harbor take pride in representing our school. We're excited to see how well our sports teams perform in their state tournaments, and we look forward to the beginning of our spring sports. Our numerous clubs at Palm Harbor University are still working hard to impact the community in a positive way while staying virtual. Although it has been an adjustment from moving in person to virtual, our clubs have found new ways and techniques to still make a difference. The National Honor Society at Palm Harbor is coming up with many new ideas for virtual volunteering opportunities. We're currently reading to elementary school kids and writing letters to people in assisted living facilities and nursing homes. Our Health Occupation Students of America Club is also competing in a virtual mock competition this year, preparing the students to compete and succeed in next year's competition. The National Technical Honor Society provides members with scholarships and assistance in building a career portfolio, and the yearbook stays up to date with current events that are happening at our school and in our community. Our performance arts programs have come up with creative solutions to perform despite the COVID-19 restrictions. Our marching band managed to have a safe and stunning show that featured the music from The Incredibles, and 2 made the all-state orchestra. Our chorus program has arranged online virtual chorus concerts, allowing family and friends all over the country to view their students' performances. And beyond this, 9 of our students have been selected for all-state chorus. And our after-school specials a cappella group has been selected to compete in the ICHSA competition yet again. Despite COVID-19 limiting the opportunities to perform, our performing arts programs have become creative in finding ways to share their many talents. COVID-19 has brought about a lot of uncertainty. However, the teachers and staff have supported the students every step of the way, ensuring a safe and positive learning environment. Returning back to school was a smooth transition, and the teachers have been creative, coming up with new ideas to get both in-person and online students to stay involved and take pride in their programs. With videos and online clinical experiences, the students in the Medical Magnet program have been able to see what certain careers are like despite not being able to go out in the field. I would like to thank you all for hearing about Palm Harbor University High School. The teachers and staff plan on finishing the school year out strong, preparing our very proud students for the next step. We look forward to the many great accomplishments that await both our teachers and our students. Thank you.
A lot of things going on under your leadership, Principal Gonzalez. Would you like to say a few words?
Oh, thank you very much for the opportunity today for our students to present. Thank you, Paige. You did a wonderful job of representing Palm Harbor University High School and all the things that are occurring in person and virtually. So thank you very much.
Good, and thank you for everything you're doing. All right, we will now move on to the amendments for the agenda. Dr. Grego, are there any amendments to the agenda?
No, there are no amendments to the agenda, Madam Chair.
All righty, board members, any items that need to be pulled from the consent? All right, then we will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Okay, Mr. Dudley, and do we have a second? Ms. Edmonds, is that, okay. And we have a second by Ms. Edmonds. Any other discussion? All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Dudley, a second by Ms. Edmonds. All in favor of adopting the agenda as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. And it passes unanimously. We'll now move to the presentation of a proclamation for Career and Technical Education Month. Dr. Grego? Oh,
Yes.
do we have a, no. Do we have a motion to adopt the proclamation?
Motion.
Okay, Mrs. Long, do we have a second? Okay, and Mrs. Kane will second it. Dr. Grego?
Yes, Madam Chair and school board members, as a district, Pinellas County is certainly noted for their strong career and technical education programs. Mr. Mark Hunt, I couldn't be more proud of. He's a leader in the state as the Executive Director of Technical Career and Adult Career and Technical Education and Adult Education, too. Today we are celebrating that, not only today, but this month for career and technical education. The programs that exist are middle school or high school, and very proud, never to be forgotten, our technical colleges in our district. So I'll call on Mr. Hunt to present that, and we have a special treat for you today, because I think most of you remember last year we lined the entrance during this board meeting, and and had folks who could see from this building come down, and board members and others, and the students were so excited about showing you what they did and what they do every day, and so were our teachers. So Mr. Hunt has prepared something for this board. So Mr. Hunt?
Great. Thank you, Dr. Grego. Ms. Cook, board members, Dr. Grego and staff, February is Career and Technical Education Month, and like Dr. Grego mentioned last year, we gave you a wide variety of examples of student work out in front of this building. And with things being as they are this year, we wanted to go ahead and use technology to bring you a sample of some of those things. And we're going to take a little tour of the county this morning via Zoom and technology. So to start us off, let's head out to Azalea Middle School, where Trent is going to tell us about his flight simulator and drone program. Hello, Trent.
Hello, I've been in this program for 1 year, and it's great. I've been flying these drones, trying to figure out how to fly them commercially and safely. Let's see some of my friends.
My name is Jamal Gordon. I'm a 7th grader at Azalea Middle School. Let me tell you about this flight simulator. What you learn in this class, you should be able to fly a plane.
You're up. It's that simple.
You learn in a walking motion, steering it with your feet. And then when you start getting better, and you gotta gain, you get gaining to learn more. Cause you get to learn, it's like you learning stuff step by step by step. When I see a plane in the sky, it made me want to fly one. Here at Azalea, we not only fly on a simulator, we also get outside and fly on a drone.
Hi, my name is Trent, 7th grader at Azalea Middle School, and let me tell you about our drone program. This is an industry certification course. At the end of this course, we will receive a test, and if we pass, we will get a certification. Yeah, I learned how to start the drone, how to maneuver it around. I didn't know there was certain type of ways for when the wind drags the aircraft, or we also get to watch over each other and make friends. I tell them it's a fun thing. You can actually make really good money out of it, and it's a fun course. Hope I can get a job after this, help family out with some money, and we get to see cool things. We get to fly interesting drones.
Great. Well, thanks, Trent. Did you know that drone piloting is one of the fastest growing entrepreneurial occupations in the United States? And our students at Azalea are going to leave that program with a drone safety license and a ground school certification. And their next step is to achieve their drone pilot's license with the FAA. And hopefully they'll do that while they're in high school. Now let's pivot over to Countryside High School, where Amanda is going to tell us about the cybersecurity program. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning. Hello. I've been in this program for 4 years, and it's been great. My favorite part about the cybersecurity program has been the invaluable skills and knowledge that I've learned about how to protect myself and others from cybersecurity attacks. Let's meet some of my friends to tell you more about this program.
Hi, I'm Sage. I am a junior at Countryside High School, and I'm a member of the cybersecurity program. Today we're going to be showing you a bit about what we do. So what Foster has done here is he's created 2 different user accounts. One of them has a very secure password, and the other has a very basic password. It's just password in all lowercase. And he's going to input that command, and John the Ripper, which is a password cracking thing, is going to go through all the accounts on this device and try to figure out the passwords in each account. It's really important because we focus a lot on security, and in Cyber 3, you end up taking the exam for the CompTIA Security Plus certification. That certification is amazing once you get into the industry. It helps you get jobs, especially entry-level ones that pay well, and outside of the workforce, it's a great thing to know. If we don't have security, then we can't have bank accounts online, quite frankly. Cybersecurity is a lot of fun because we get to do a lot of different labs in secluded environments where we can really see what's actually happening out in the real world. And we can find out ways to protect against that, to protect both ourselves and other people.
Thanks, Amanda. The demand for cybersecurity professionals is expected to increase over the next 10 or 12 years, as you might imagine. And cybersecurity is one of the top wage-earning occupations in the IT industry today. Now we're going to come back over this way a little bit to Largo High School, where Dylan is going to tell us about the welding program. Good morning, Dylan.
Hey, good morning, guys. I am a senior at Largo High School. I've been in the program for 3 years, and I really love this program because it allows me to have a technical skill that will allow me to have a career path later in life, and it allows me to have options because there are a couple different forms of welding. I'm actually currently practicing one of the hardest forms, which is aircraft welding. It's called TIG welding. So let's go see some of my friends in the program.
Mr. C is currently prepping a test plate for our stick welding certification test, and he's using a 3-inch plate test plate and putting a 22-degree bevel on it. This is actually one of the bevels that he was just cutting over there. It's a 22-degree bevel, and he's going to be placing a banding strap, a backing strap, and then he's also going to be tack welding these together. And then they're eventually going to be welded to look like this plate here and this plate here. So for these test plates, this is a completed one. We have 1 root pass, we have 4 filler passes, and then we have 3 passes for the cap. As you can see here, these are the 3 passes on the cap. That's on the top of this plate. These are the levels of a stick welder. And so what you're going to start with is you're going to start with stringer beads, which are just individual beads of a weld. And for our first portion, you have to have 5 stringer beads in a row. And then for the next one, you're going to do a lap joint, which means that you're going to place a weld in this joint here. And then for the next portion, you're going to have a T-joint, in which you're going to place a weld here. And then after you've completed those tasks, you'll move over to an actual testing plate. And then these are actual bend tests to test the integrity of each individual weld. And then after you complete all of those, you can actually move to more fun stuff. This is actually a TIG weld, which is a different form of welding. And then these are some roses that were welded. So with these roses, what we actually were studying was the science of metallurgy and how different thicknesses of metals bend differently. So these petals are actually at a slightly different thickness than these leaves here, and these leaves bend a lot easier than these petals do here. I enjoy the welding program at Largo High School because it gives me opportunities to work with my hands. And because of that, I have more of a desire to participate in the program because I can actually see my growth as the program moves along. This program also helps me obtain certifications for the American Welding Society, which can help me to build a career or just have a skill that I would like to have.
Thanks, Dylan. You know, the future is really bright for welders, and as you heard from Dylan, students that leave that welding program are going to be certified welders. And as a certified welder, they can immediately go into the occupation as an entry-level welder, earning $40,000 a year. And in some of those more specialized fields, like Dylan was mentioning with TIG welding and pipe welding, they can go over $97,000 a year in their salary. So for our last trip this morning, we're going to stop by Pinellas Technical College, St. Petersburg, where Sarah is going to tell us about the dental assisting program. Hello, Sarah.
Hello. I've been in this program for 1 year, and it's been rewarding. I'm about to graduate, and I'm so excited because I already have a job working with children in a local pediatric dentist office. Let's meet some of my classmates, and I'll show you about this program.
This is our instructor, Ms. Garcia, demonstrating how to take a lower or mandibular alginate impression. As you can see, they're fitting it first, and then they will prepare the impression material. Impressions are important because dentists use them for study models to create treatment plans for the patient. We stay current with our dental technology. This is our new handheld X-ray unit called the Nomad. The Nomad system is more convenient for the patient
It's easier to use for the assistant and also emits less radiation. JC is placing a rubber dam for moisture control in preparation for a filling to be placed. This is one of the 19 expanded functions we learn at Pinellas Technical College to help us earn our expanded functions certification for the state of Florida. Sterilization is a critical part of a dental assistant's job. Angela here is demonstrating how we do that. Once the instruments are cleaned, they are placed in a sterilization pouch. Then they are placed in the autoclave, which uses steam under pressure to sterilize the instruments.
Great. Well, thank you, Sarah. Good luck on your career as a dental assistant. You know, and one of the things that you may not know is the program over at Pinellas Technical College opens its doors several times a month to dentists that come in and perform dental processes for the public, and our dental assisting students help in that process, so they're giving back to the community while they're still in school. This has just been a sample of the diverse career preparation programs we offer across the district, and I'd like to thank our wonderful student representatives who are on the screen and wish them good luck in their future, and open up the opportunity to board members if you had any questions of our students while they're still with us.
Board members, any questions? Yeah. I'm going to congratulate you on your presentations. You did a wonderful job explaining the process, the options of learning, and all of the different things that are going on in the career and technical field at each of those schools. So thank you very much for being part of the presentation.
Thank you, students, very much. And I would also like to thank Dave Cook and Sean Clark and the communications team for putting this together, doing the filming and helping us put it all together. And as a side note, just want you to know that Sean Clark graduated from the TV production program at Pinellas Technical College. Good. So he is an example of what we just saw here this morning. Mm-hmm. And as Dr. Grego mentioned earlier, this is Career and Technical Education Month, and we do have a proclamation before you for consideration.
Good, thank you. And Mrs. Long, would you like to read the proclamation for us, please?
Career and Technical Education Month. Whereas profound economic and technological changes in our society are rapidly reflected in the structure and nature of work, placing new and additional responsibilities on our educational system. And whereas the efforts of career and technical educators with business and industry stimulate the growth and vitality of our local economy and that of the entire nation by preparing graduates for careers that are forecast to experience the largest and fastest growth in the next decade. And whereas career and technical education serves as the backbone of a strong, well-educated workforce and contributes to America's leadership in the international marketplace. And whereas career and technical education provides Floridians with the School to Careers connection, helping students experience practical and meaningful applications of any number of skills. And whereas more than 415,000 secondary job preparation and 185,000 post-secondary career and technical education students in Florida engage in this type of meaningful education. And whereas secondary schools in all 67 school districts, all 28 Florida colleges, and 48 technical colleges offer career and technical education courses. And whereas more than 430,000 secondary CTE students are enrolled in one of over 2,060 registered career and professional education academies and more than 15,300 registered career-themed courses. And whereas Florida students have earned over 91,000 industry certifications and over 33,000 digital tool certifications. And whereas career and technical education offers individuals lifelong opportunities to learn new skills, providing career choices and potential satisfaction. Now, therefore, the School Board of Pinellas County does hereby recognize February 2021 as Career and Technical Education Month, signed this 9th day of February 2021.
All right, good, thank you. Board members, is there any discussion? All right, we have a motion to accept the proclamation by Mrs. Long and a second by Mrs. Kane. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. Our next is a presentation of the 2019-2020 Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee, their annual report to the Pinellas County School Board and the citizens of Pinellas County. It's going to be presented by Mitch Lee, chairperson of the Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee.
I believe, Madam Chair, that I'm going to introduce first Kevin Hendricks, who's been working with the ICROC committee, and just want to also take a point of privilege and thank the entire committee for the work that is done throughout the year and throughout many years, and especially I know we'll mention the tremendous support that we received this past election of the referendum. But also I want to say thank you to Mitch Lee. It's very appropriate that we were talking about career and technical education. Mitch also serves on our Pinellas Educational Foundation, Academies of Distinction, and so many other programs that are foundation and established business partners throughout this community. Because the only way we have strong career and technical programs is strong business partnerships. So Mitch has been the leader of that and has certainly been a leader in this particular area. So it truly, as a school board and school district, Mitch Lee is a champion of public education. I wanted to just say publicly thank you.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Hendrick.
Thank you, Dr. Grego, Madam Chair, board members, and staff. It's my pleasure to be here today to present the annual report of the Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee, or ICROC. Our school district, our staff, and our students are very gracious for the overwhelming support the Pinellas County community has provided to our school district since 2004 in voting for a referendum. Each year, ICROC presents a report to the board and community, and it is now time to listen and hear about the 2019-2020 school year report. The ICROC committee elects a chair each year, and I'm pleased once again to have Mitch Lee as our chairperson present that annual report. Mitch?
Well, good morning, and thanks for having me today. I did want to just say thank you to the staff that I get the chance, along with the other committee members, quarterly to meet with. And I know Kevin Hendrick and Kevin Smith are here, and the rest of the curriculum staff. They do a wonderful job providing the information and data that we need as a committee, and it's the Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee, or ICROC, a little easier to remember. And we meet quarterly. This is the 16th year that we have done so. This referendum is obviously very important to the district. Madam Chair and the rest of the board members, I'm sure, are aware of that. It has provided over $500 million during this time frame. This year, due to the tax rolls, it's up some. We're about $50 million to the budget, something that would be very difficult to replace. It's watched over very carefully by our committee to ensure that it's spent properly. There are templates, financial forms that are available, and I believe you have the entire report in front of you. I will take some time just to provide some highlights for you, and if you have any questions, I'd be glad on behalf of the committee to answer those. 80% of the money is this year about $35 million. There are some carryovers that adjust for the remainder. 80% of that goes to teacher salaries, of which this year there was about a $534 increase per teacher, which then brought the, $4,724 is the total with the $534 increase. And that provides the ability for a starting teacher to start at about $47,500, which is very competitive, allows us to recruit and you to retain teachers that we don't have to go back out and recruit again. The other 20% this year, about over $8 million, supports the arts, reading, and technology programs. And I will tell you that during the shutdown this past year, during the school year, the Pinellas County School District was positioned very advantageously because of the work that the referendum funds provided, being allowed to have technology in place, have systems and processes that allow teachers to do their jobs remotely and students to do so as well. In fact, every student that did not have a computer already was able to be provided one from the district, which put this district very, very competitively in the market. The visual arts programs, there were over 186 field trips for 12,263 students this past year, and mobile art museums visited 25 schools, and as well, every school art teacher was provided discretionary funds, which allowed them to buy materials that they needed, especially in this time where students were not able to be in school and they provided the materials. In the performing arts area, 70 elementary classrooms received funding for instruments and equipment, and new teachers received enhanced support to ensure their success in starting their careers. High school band uniforms were replaced at 3 schools, and in partnership with the Florida Orchestra funds, supported the Florida Teaching Artist Initiative, which continued virtually during the spring closure. They're also very interesting to a lot of the musicians, like myself, a frustrated musician. There were tryout kits that allowed students to try new instruments without having to have the entire instrument. In the technology and digital learning area, the long-term goal of outfitting every classroom with interactive technology through smart boards and other devices continued, and there were 293 additional classrooms received new or replacement interactive boards or projectors this past year, and hundreds of additional teachers received training and support. In support of reading, the referendum supported every school with funds to purchase supplemental materials for the classrooms. These provided novels, instructional resources, and based on the individual needs of the school, dictated how they were purchased. Also, they continued to support targeted programs for grades K through 2, and hundreds of teachers attended training with specific needs for their students and Florida standards. As we look forward to the upcoming year, we will continue to support the referendum and ensuring that the funds are spent mostly within the year that they were intended and that they do not supplant the normal budget funding for the district. And at this time, I would open up for questions from the board.
Who's looking for, sorry, was that not, okay, thank you. Anyone who's looking for good news in education, a really good thing to do would be to read the executive summary of this IC Rock report. As I read it and just saw all the numbers and saw the impact, I was so excited, and I was imagining this like number bubble diagram that could just show everybody who votes for this what an incredible impact it has. And then, Mr. Lee, I just wanted to thank you and your committee, who's all volunteers. I understand you're a West Point grad, so I have to say beat Army. But I would also say that as a veteran and as a fellow veteran, you have seen firsthand the impact of a strong public education system on national security, on the people that we serve with. So it is imperative. So I want to thank you for your work with the Education Foundation, with this IC Rock group, and I also, when you look at the list, I mean, these are all volunteers who are showing up to look at these resources and how can we best use them, and to have this kind of money supplement our teacher salaries, 80% of it, to show that we have the best teachers in Florida, to keep bringing them to Pinellas County, is just amazing. So I want to thank you. I want to thank the people who continue to vote for it, and just recommend that we all don't lose sight of how important this is. Also on the arts side, I do have to say, the investment in the arts, we all know, leads to higher graduation rates, higher scores, lower dropout rates. All children should have access, exactly like you said, to music, visual arts, etc. So I just wanted to say thank you for the good news. I really enjoyed reading your executive summary. And
great, thank you. I will say that the staff that we get to interact with each quarterly meeting, it is an opportunity and it's a privilege for the committee to actually serve and be able to hear what's going on in the school district and a very detailed level. We even visit the schools. We look at what the referendum impact has been. That's why so many of the committee members are longstanding members like myself. I've been on since the beginning and have no intention at this point to not serve in that capacity. But it is the quality of the staff, too, that provides all of the information. They do a terrific job, and I appreciate the opportunity to serve.
Thank you. This is a perfect example of the partnerships that make public education successful. I think every single one of the board members could probably echo the comments that were made by Ms. Hines. But I also sincerely want to thank you, Mitch, for the 16 years that you've been on this.
I did want to make one anecdotal comment, nothing related to it, but it is a privilege also to have one of your school board members involved in a community activity that I'm very also associated with, helping injured veterans and first responders through cycling. And we had 524 cyclists at Tropicana Field for the annual Florida Honor Ride, honoring the veterans and first responders. And we always kick it off with opening ceremonies. And one of your own, Lisa Kane, did the honors for the national anthem and was as good as the Super Bowl, I can tell you. It was awesome. So thank you for that. Thank you.
All righty, well, thank you. Any other comments? All right, okay, so we have a motion by Mrs. Long and a second by Mrs. Kane to, no, we don't, never mind. We don't vote on this. We just accept the report. So we will move on to public comment. Before we get started with that, before I find out whether we have them or not, I'd like to read our expectations. Members of the public have 3 opportunities to address the board when we gather at our meetings. The first opportunity is to speak during public comments to agenda items. The next opportunity is when there is a public hearing, most of which are on policies. Lastly, after the meeting is adjourned, we will remain for public participation when speakers may address items pertaining to the business of the district. During public comment, board members are here to listen. This is not a time for discussion or debate. We will not take any formal action on information brought forward unless it is pertaining to the agenda items. However, board members and superintendents may refer you to the proper staff person to help you work through your concerns. The board is committed to a standard of civility and decorum in the conduct of our meetings. Please assist us in maintaining a civil and constructive environment by confining your comments in the business of the district and refrain from intemperate or rude comments. Thank you very much. So, Ms. Simonetti, are there any speakers that we have for
Board
comments
members,
to the agenda?
I apologize. Board members and Dr. Grego, we have one speaker today on specific agenda items. Victoria Hagedorn will speak to 8.1.
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Grego, and staff. As mentioned, my name is Victoria Hagedorn. I'm here representing Arts for Complete Education, or ACE. We're very pleased to acknowledge Board Chair Carol Cook for being recognized as School Board Member of the Year at the annual conference of the Florida Music Educators Association, and by whom she was previously presented with the plaque at the School Board Administration Building.
Thank you.
ACE offers our sincere congratulations to Mrs. Cook for this well-deserved reward, and it was our pleasure to lend support to her nomination. Mrs. Cook was on the board at the inception of the referendum in 2004. We thank her and the other forward-looking board members who have supported these efforts over the years. I want to recognize IC Rock for their diligent oversight of the referendum funds. Those funds are an important aspect to arts education in Pinellas County schools. As a former elementary arts teacher in the district from 1976 to 2013, I can personally attest to the impact these funds made on my job as a teacher and my students. Prior to the passage of the referendums, we had have schools and have not schools, based on the fact that many schools had no active PTA programs, could not augment the already meager funding from the district. If a student transferred to a different school, their arts experience could go from having access to many materials, equipment, and supplies to a school where these things were minimal at best. There was little parity between schools, and as an educator who taught only in Title I schools, I can tell you there was huge disparity with regard to supplies and materials for students. Many of us spent quite a bit of our personal monies to equip our classrooms so that our students could have the same experience as the schools that had more funds available. With the passage of the referendum in 2004, the playing field became more even. Now all schools, and therefore students, have access to equipment, supplies, and materials. Teachers have access to training and technology, and students can expect to go to any school in the district and have the same access to arts materials as at any other school. ACE is most pleased and grateful to be asked to be a part of the IC Rock Board as proposed in item 8.1, and we hope for approval of this item in the future. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
There are no
And
other
that's it.
speakers.
All right. With that being the last speaker, then we will move to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Okay. And do we have a second? Okay. Okay. So we have a motion by Mrs. Long and a second by Ms. Hine. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. And it is approved unanimously. So we will now go to the item to which we just had a speaker. And it is to set the public hearing and authorizing the advertisement of the public hearing to consider the amendment to Policy 2140, the Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee, or IC Rock. This is the first reading. Do we have a motion? Okay, Mrs. Kane? And Mrs. Long, second. Okay. Dr. Grego?
Board members, as you've just heard, we think it's very appropriate, and as also you discussed as a board in your last workshop, very appropriate to place the representation of Arts for a Complete Education as a wonderful community organization that has supported this district and arts education for many, many years. So I'm certainly hoping you would take a look at this as you have supported it even during your workshop. But to really go over the details of that, Ms. Dell is, who is the Chief Strategy and Impact Officer, will discuss it for the public's sake too.
Okay.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members, community, and staff. I think this is a perfect meeting to bring forward this policy change for first reading. Having heard all of the wonderful things that IC Rock not only does for our school system, but for the community. This first reading is to set the public hearing, and we did do this, as Dr. Grego mentioned, we brought this to workshop in January. If approved for public hearing, we would be setting the second reading for March 23rd. And what's changed in this policy is something we bring forward every 4 years with the updating of the referendum language. That is generally what is updated within this policy, to add that on November 3rd, 2020, that it was approved again by the citizens. The additional change to this policy this time is to add Arts for a Complete Education as one of the members of IC Rock.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Is there any discussion? We did have a conversation about this at our board meeting, and at our workshop, and we were very supportive of the idea. I think most of our discussion has already happened. So we have a motion by Mrs. Kane and a second by Mrs. Long to set the public hearing and authorize the advertisement of the public hearing to consider the amendment to Policy 2140, the Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee, or IC Rock. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. And it passes unanimously as well. Congratulations. We'll go forward with this. All right, so now our next item is to request approval to expand the PCS Connects initiative. We have a motion? Okay, Mrs. Long. Do we have a second? Okay, and Mrs. Kane. Dr. Grego?
Yes, Madam Chair and board members, this is certainly one of our more exciting initiatives that we've began at the last March, April, and really took off with the CARES funds, and to note that we're going to go digital, and we're going to move a one-to-one device into expansion of our school day, and so many things that, again, I don't want to continue to repeat those things, but also want the public to know that this board has talked quite extensively during their workshops over the last several months on this initiative. And so this was an opportunity for us to shed a little bit more light for the public and for the board, that as we expand the purchase of these laptops so that every single student in our district is equipped to expand the learning day. So this is a cross-divisional thing. You know, all of our associate superintendents are working on this. Nobody's left out on it. It's a true team effort. And to present this, Mr. Lechner, who is the Associate Superintendent, Technology Information Services, and Mr. Hendrick, also in Teaching and Learning, will present to the public and to this board.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Grego. Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Grego, and staff. I am Tom Lechner, Associate Superintendent for Technology and Information Systems, and it's my pleasure to begin to request this addition to what Dr. Grego just described. If you remember back in June of 2020, this board approved the purchase of devices for students in grades 4 through 9. An exciting time. Those devices were purchased, they were delivered, and TIS had them set up and, of course, support throughout the use of those laptops. At that time, we had a plan to phase in additional grades in future years. That's why we're here today for phase 2 and expanding to grades 3 and 10. So we're making the request for the additional purchase of laptops to accommodate grades 3 through 10. I'd like to now turn it over to my coworker and peer, Kevin Hendrick, Associate Superintendent for Teaching and Learning, and he'll explain the curriculum use of those devices.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lechner, and good morning once again, board members and staff. So what have we been doing with those devices since they've been in the hands of students since October or November? Quite a bit. So let me give a couple of examples. Last year, we had an event with Junior Achievement called JA Inspires, and Dr. Hines was able to get 5 middle schools to go to a central location and do some questioning and interviewing with careers. And so they brought in about 15 companies from across Tampa Bay. They got to hear from workers, learn about their experience as a careers, and kind of get a quick look at all of those places. We wanted to bring all of our middle schools, but there was no facility that would house 28,000 students and do it in a way in which you can transport them and do it safely and feed them and all those other things. This year, brought on, of course, first by the pandemic, but also by the ability of us to have technology, every 7th and 8th grader in our school district last week participated in JA Inspires. They had their laptop in their classroom, didn't have to go anywhere. They interviewed and talked with 25 companies from across Tampa Bay, everyone from Publix to the Pinellas Education Foundation, nonprofits, and everything in between to learn about colleges and careers, really careers, as 7th and 8th graders. And it was brought on by PCS Connects. It was a great experience for our students and an example of how we're putting them into use. In our elementary schools, we're using the computers a lot for students who are in simultaneous classrooms so that they can collaborate with their peers at home. So they're using Microsoft Teams and going into breakout groups and working on projects together. They're using our digital tools, our Microsoft Office suite. They're building PowerPoints together and keeping kids connected from a social emotional level. Even though they're at home and maybe feel isolated, they're able to interact with students in classrooms. Additionally, as we shared at the workshop with you a few weeks ago, how we're using the technology in elementary schools to give additional practice and extend the school day for students to try to catch up on that learning loss in mathematics that we've talked about. In our high schools, we've got a lot of things going similar to elementary and middle school, but one of the exciting projects is our master teacher lessons. Today, this afternoon, just like last Thursday and last Tuesday, and for the next 10 weeks, we have 250 high school seniors from across our school district who have not yet passed the FSA exam that they need for high school to graduate. And they are meeting with a master teacher, one of our top teachers from across the school district who has some of the highest pass rates for getting students to pass the FSA. And they are going through every afternoon a 1-hour lesson with the teacher. And what's more exciting is there's 12 reading teachers from across our district who teach seniors who are also participating in that lesson. So they're seeing a master teacher from across the district. 250 students are getting that lesson that up until now, they're only getting the lesson from the teacher in their school, which is high quality. But we all know when we hear it a second and third time and we hear it from someone who's been doing it a little bit longer, the results are better. And so those are just some examples of how we're using the technology across the school district, and we look forward to continuing that for years to come.
Thank you. Any other questions to the board?
No? No. Ms. Hine?
Thank you, Mr. Lechner and Mr. Hendrick. I really valued hearing at the workshop those different targeted learning opportunities. I think that's very exciting. And I think too, the access to the different programs you explained and whether they're enrichment or this access to master classes, I love the way we're giving students devices and giving them access to all this amazing learning and enrichments and everything. I think it's good and I support it. I would just mention, I'm curious on the technology side, what kind of protections we put on the computers. You don't have to answer this today, but I just as a mom, I think about devices and usage in the household, and so there's the software side and what kinds of things we're doing with the devices themselves, and then on the kind of how do we support parents? And now that these devices are coming into the houses, and whether that's the school district or the PTA or I don't know, but just this idea about how do we talk about usage of devices in the homes and things like that. Everyone's learning. We've seen for a couple of decades now, or at least a decade, as the iPhones came out and all the different, we've seen the impacts on especially adolescents when it comes to device usage. So I can't help, I'm super excited about this and yes to it, but then I can't help but think about those kinds of issues and just ask what we're doing as a community, which I am part of, to just help us all manage it as well as possible.
Great questions, and we can give the board some more information, but just quickly for the public, one of the things we committed to was an advisory group. If you remember when we launched this in June, a PCS Connects advisory team, and we have put together about 30 community members who have questioned us on those same things, those same topics. This is great, we all love it, but what else? What about screen time? What about how do parents get help when they need it? So we've started to build out a lot of those resources on our PCS Connects website. We've built out a parent training. We've built out a digital citizenship training for students. We also partner with some organizations to do that. So there's a lot of pieces around that. As we get further along with more and more students and more families having access, we'll do that on an even larger scale. And we've talked with our schools about a big launch as they start the next school year, as they're handing these things out, not organically as they come in, but actually all at once for students and parents, as we've done in our Title I schools when we've had this same thing before. I'll let Mr. Lechner speak to the safety of it, but we have a number of things in play there as well.
Yes, we do. Good morning again. We have we filter all content that students receive. So we have firewall, we have content filtering, and we have safeguards in place so students don't access inappropriate material. But that's an excellent question, and it's one on the top of our minds. We also, I facilitate a TIS Security Council. We meet twice a month and have an agenda and have a manual. We have procedures in place, and we discuss security, specifically network security, every single meeting. So great question.
Fantastic, thank you. I have to tell you, every question I've had at this district in the last few months, there's been just amazing answers, and I just really appreciate the work. And of course, watching that cybersecurity, with the career tech people, we should know that everything's in good hands if we have that kind of program available as well. But thank you, I really appreciate it.
I think as we move forward, though, that's an excellent point as we maybe provide the board just an overview. It's excellent topics about how to continue to educate and partner with, as Ms. Hines said, the PTA and other organizations, along with ourselves as with the advisory group that we've assembled to, because it's a different change, it's a change. And with that, what are the shortcomings and what are the benefits? So I think it's a great topic to have further conversations with.
Absolutely. All right, I see no other requests for questions. Thank you very much, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have a motion by Mrs. Long and a second by Mrs. Kane to approve the expansion of the PCS Connects initiative. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. It passes 7-0. Thank you very much. All right, we now move to items introduced by the superintendent.
Thank you, Madam Chair and school board members. I want to, as you've certainly heard in the news, I want to thank Mr. Herbeck and City of Clearwater as we work towards the North Greenwood Cemetery. Just provide you a little bit of an update. We're working in full partnership. Again, that word can never be overused. Partnership, partnership, partnership. But we're working in partnership both with City of Clearwater and also the North Pinellas NAACP. We've been working with them since December of 2019 to investigate the possible remaining burial sites, as you know, on our property. And that work and that ground truthing has begun. Mr. Herbeck will be bringing some greater details that may be more timely, perhaps during our next workshop. But I asked if he wants to just give a very brief overview of the work that has been done over the last week. He was out there during last Monday, I believe. It was when we started the work with the city of Clearwater.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Grego. Madam Chair, board members, as Dr. Grego did say, we do have a lengthy partnership with the city and with the North Pinellas NAACP. The city of Clearwater hired Cardno. It's a investigative engineering firm, actually, that, again, we're helping share the costs with them for Cardno. Cardno started their work at the cemetery site last Monday. They expect to finish the ground truthing portion of the work by the end of this week. Up to now, and again, I'll have more details for you at the workshop, but they have discovered some intact burials. They've discovered some grave markers as well that were left behind by the funeral homes who provided those burials back in the day. The final report from Cardno onto the extent of impact or intact burials and the extent of the cemetery will be expected in mid-May. So again, they'll provide that report to the city of Clearwater and us both in mid-May. But I believe it was just yesterday, actually, Matt Bloom, our secondary social studies specialist or supervisor, and Sean Clark with their communications department were on site, and they were filming some of the processes that were going on, talked to Cardno, they talked to representatives from the Florida Public Archaeological Network, and they put together a package that they'll be able to share in classrooms, in secondary classrooms. So we'll be able to take what's going on there and take it out to classrooms as an educational component. And then again, we're looking for some longer range projects as well. But we'll bring those details to you next Wednesday, or next Tuesday, or Tuesday, I'm sorry, at the workshop.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Herbeck. In addition to that, I just want to add some really good news for our district. I always try to provide some points of pride to this board and to the public, but Seminole Middle School is named the State School of Character. Character.org is a national leader in character education, selected Seminole Middle School as the State School of Character. The school is among 76 schools nationwide. It's the only one in the Tampa Bay area to receive this prestigious award. So certainly congratulations to Dr. Michael Moss, the principal, and so many others. Students learn these, they have to demonstrate the character traits of respect, responsibility, scholarship, teamwork, honesty, collaboration, perseverance, patriotism, service, and self-motivation. The 2021 National Schools of Character will be formally announced on this May of 2021 at the National Forum in Washington, D.C. So we're very proud of Seminole Middle School as the only school in the state. Also, talking about naming of schools, Clearwater High School, just yesterday, the day before, was named a model high school in the state of Florida. One of, in the nation, but also in the state of Florida. Only 20 of these schools were selected with hundreds that compete on this. This year, the Clearwater High School was an early accepted model, which means that it is in the upper echelon of recognized schools, as highlighted at the center's website. Clearwater High School is being recognized for creating a growth mindset that addresses the achievement gap through an embedded social and emotional curriculum that aligns their systems. And you certainly know many of the great work that they're doing, and Mr. Masterides is doing at that school. The entire staff is to be commended for their selection as a model high school. Coach, I don't want to let you down. I'm going to report a little bit on the athletics of our district because one season is ending and another one's starting, and it gives me great pride. And also give an opportunity. These seasons have been more difficult than ever before, but I want to give a shout out also to Al Bennett and the work that he does day in and day out of managing these seasons through a pandemic. But congratulations. As you heard even some of our students earlier, the PCAC Championship, Palm Harbor University High School Girls Soccer, Osceola Fundamental High Boys Soccer, Clearwater High School's basketball, Eastlake High School's boys basketball, Palm Harbor University wrestling. And also congratulations to the district champions who will be moving on to regionals. That's Clearwater and Lakewood, high school girls basketball, and the Countryside and Largo girls soccer. It looks like the girls are dominating by far there. So congratulations to all of them. I also want to express just the executive internship program that we're implementing this year, and that the application period, I want to make that public because I really believe in the executive internship program where students get to go out into companies like Baycare, Pinellas County Government, USF Marine Sciences, Harvard Jolly, Marine Aquarium, Clearwater Marine Aquarium, and so many of the doctors, physicians' offices throughout our community. You saw through this morning about career and technical education. There's no better way to do a clinical or even our high school students to really join in on the externship, the executive internship program. And just it takes a committed teacher. It takes the whole school district to really get behind these types of partnerships. So please look at our website, those students who are interested, parents who are interested, and certainly let us help guide that. It's www.pcsb.org/EIP, Executive Internship Program, EIP. The other reminder I want to provide the public and all is that we care about your input. We have 2 major surveys that are out there. The one I did announce last board meeting is our Title I survey, and the Pinellas County Title I schools are encouraged to have their voices heard. And so it's www.pcsb.org/Title I. And those principals are really promoting the survey because we want to hear, we learn, and this survey has been open for quite some time, and it closes February 11th. So please, let's see how those dollars are spent and what the services that we can continue to help. As times are changing, we need to change also with that. The second survey, I want to say certainly Lynn Mowat and others are promoting, but it's actually a Florida Department of Education. The ESE Parent Survey is now underway, and it closes all the way in May, so we have some time. But any student with who has an IEP, who receive special educational services, are certainly encouraged to take this survey. And we've learned over the years, and Ms. Mowat has certainly said that we've changed things we do as a result of the survey. We've created the help line to assist families with navigating special ed services. As a result of this survey, we've implemented options to make ESE advisory committee meetings accessible. So the surveys are important, the right surveys, and sometimes when we specialize in those surveys, such as the Title I and the ESEs as examples. So I want to encourage our families with students with disabilities to truly take some time and get on. And the Florida Department of Education divides those results and provides them to the district, so it's a good learning experience. I'll close my comments as we opened it up with these bracelets. Congratulations to Cypress Woods, but what I also want you to know that even though we had the Students' Rights and Responsibilities on Palm Harbor University, we also had Ted Larson, who is a Palm Harbor University graduate, was a member of the Bucks team and worked with them, and we're proud that he'll be receiving a Super Bowl ring. So go Bucks, and congratulations to the Tampa Bay area for winning the Super Bowl, but more importantly, we had a student in there too. So that concludes my comments.
Very good, thank you. Items introduced by the school board attorney.
I have no report today, thank you, ma'am.
Always a good message, always a good message. All right, items introduced by school board members. Ms. Kane.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say a word of thanks to Mitch Lee for coming in with the ICROC report today. I want to thank everyone who was involved in this as we I feel like this year gave us a great opportunity to reflect on priorities in Pinellas County schools through all of the transitions from COVID, and I really feel like through this process, the arts are really rising to the top as we've been without them for so many months. We've seen the impact that that's had on students' emotional and mental well-being as well as educationally. And so the arts are just, as we move forward on our mission to educate and for 100% success, are rising to the top as such a vital component of education for students young and old. And I am so excited to see in this report today how much impact it is having on elementary students. as we continue to expand what we offer in arts programming, I feel like it's vital to continue to expand it to the younger and younger grades so that students who are rising up K through 12 can start earlier and earlier with arts education, as it only proves to increase their capacity for all other areas of education. And I just am so excited to see that, so I thank you and the ICROC committee for all that you are doing to continue to promote arts education. Additionally, also want to give a shout out to the Honor Ride. We also had Gibbs High School there, Gibbs High School Band, and they did an amazing job. They've come and they kind of fired everybody up, and there's one of the favorite parts of the morning festivities for this event, and they are scheduled on board, I believe, for next year as well. We're excited to have them too, and it was enjoyable. Everyone who was at the event enjoyed it, and I appreciate them as well. Great job to the Cypress Woods students for their bracelet making as well. That is an incredible program. I had an amazing opportunity to go out to Cypress Woods, I think it was a year and a half ago or so, to do the American Teach-In with them. And in that particular class, that was really fantastic to see them be highlighted today, and all the work that they put in, because they have been doing all kinds of cool community projects throughout the years in that program at Cypress Woods. Additionally, when it comes to our expansion of arts education, I had the amazing opportunity of going to Tarpon High School I think it was a week ago, to take a visit, to take a school tour. And I know we are going there next week for our workshop. We'll have opportunity to see the culinary department. But when it comes to our career and technical programming, they also have an amazing veterinarian program. And I had the awesome opportunity of getting to see their dog that they have there. They have Sponger, the dog that they do surgery on, and see some of the other career technical programs that are being offered at Tarpon Springs High School, as well as their Arts Leadership Academy, which is growing and expanding every day, and also expanding to Tarpon Middle School. So I know we will get a chance to kind of see it next week at our workshop. Although we are not going there for our board meeting, we are going to get to go see Tarpon for our workshop, and I'm excited about that. That's very exciting. And also see some more career technical opportunities that we are offering in all of our different programming throughout Pinellas County. So I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Mark Hunt, and also to Mr. Mitch Leaf, and also for ACE, for Arts for a Complete Education, for being a part of this meeting and helping with all of these initiatives moving forward. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. All right, Dr. Carr.
Thank you. I want to first welcome a couple of folks I see in the room today for the first time in their new roles as area superintendents, Dr. Gonzalez and Dr. Hines. I know we approved those positions in our last meeting, and it's nice to see you here. You play such a critical role in our climate within our school, so I really appreciate you and welcome you in this new role. I also wanted to follow up with our last meeting. We had some discussion around the gifted, and in our superintendent update, we did see quite a bit of information. I just want to appreciate the hard work of Coral Marsh, our supervisor of gifted education, and acknowledge how much time was spent really drilling down that information and the progress we made in identifying areas of need and potentially looking at the inequity in full-time gifted enrollment as a potential strategic goal for the future. So I really appreciate the hard work that that group has done and the time that it took to pull that information and really present it well with a well-formulated question, and then looking for supporting data to answer that question, rather than us just pulling data and trying to put it in a place where it may not fit perfectly. So I appreciate Coral Marsh and Mr. Hendricks' work on our follow-up with the gifted. And with that, I'm also going to express some gratitude to the Girls with Pearls group at Ridgecrest. I had the opportunity to go and speak with them last Friday, and I'll bring back to us as a board, one of the pieces they shared with a characteristic a school board member ought to have is they ought to be kind. So I feel very fortunate to work with each of you, because it's oftentimes in these challenging decision-making opportunities that we really need to be kind with one another. So thank you as board members, and thank you to Ridgecrest for allowing me to be a part of that group. In addition to that, we had the opportunity, I know several of us were present in the recent CoQuebs meeting, and there was a fantastic presentation, if you did not have the opportunity to see it, done by Terry Daniel from University of South Florida. And she really drilled down a wonderful process to examine the equitable acquisition of contracts with USF and the procurement process. And I hope we'll investigate that, and I know we have our own wonderful process, but that was really a wonderful example of how to really investigate and possibly adjust to see if we are allowing equal access in the procurement process. So I thought that was a very interesting piece, and for those of you who didn't have the opportunity to see it, you might want to check it out. Also, I had the opportunity as a board member representative with the Pinellas Continuum of Care for our Homeless Leadership, which is now overseen by Miss Amy Foster. And one of the fantastic things that's taking place now with her is she's providing, in the interim Fridays between meetings, learning opportunities and communication opportunities between groups on targeted topics. And the particular topic that was targeted was a family provider meeting. So Dr. Cantrell and Laurie Matway, thank you for attending and representing our district. There is definitely a gap within our county that has been identified in how we thread the mental health community support systems between and amongst different user groups. So it was a great conversation, and to have our staff at the table is very meaningful and powerful, because so often we are the front door as a school system to providing mental health services, community health services, and social work services to our families. So thank you to our team for being present, and thank you to Amy Foster for really facilitating these new opportunities for us to really make better connections and have more partnership and collaboration between community agencies. And also, one of the things that in this past week, it's been a busy week, so I appreciate your patience, to report on is the review of the curriculum task force. And I'd like to thank Ms. Van Dyke, our PD specialist for equity, as well as the entire teaching and learning department that oversees the elementary reading, the secondary reading, and secondary social studies, because this group was inspired by our students who wrote a letter for us to address racism in the curriculum. And it has been an experience that I did not anticipate to have. Frankly, I'll tell you, I was a little cynical, and I thought, I don't know, are we placating? Are we really invested in this? Will this really make a difference? But when you look at the processes that have been developed, I hope that we will share that out with the group, and not just with the board, but with the community, so that folks know what the follow-up was to a student initiative and how empowering that can be to future change. And for example, in the elementary education piece with the reading adoption coming in the near future, a process of questioning and reviewing the text that is so transparent and had so much input from different community members that I really want to give kudos to the team and to the group for moving that in the right direction. And I think it speaks to, while I still think we have a ways to go, and we're finding that out in the meeting too, because the students are there sharing their experiences, so they remind us where we need to still make improvements, which is fantastic. But we also, in this time of, and it is Black History Month, that we celebrate the successes and take every opportunity to continue to make progress and growth. And I think that's one project that is ongoing that is an example of that growth and opportunity. And then that's it. Those were my pieces to share out from as a board member, and I appreciate your time, and thank you.
Good, thank you. Mrs. Edmond?
Thank you, Dr. Carr, for sharing all of that. It was great to hear. I just want to say thank you, Dr. Grego, Chief Williams, Mr. Herbig, and staff for coordinating the community meeting, as well as putting out the information on social media so that the community can provide feedback as well as review the MOU or interagency agreement and ask questions or provide input. I also had the opportunity to learn more about the College and Career Center at Gibbs High School, and it's phenomenal just to hear about the work that's occurring and how the school counselors are meeting the needs of each individual student. And I visited 74th Street and met with their equity team to talk about Black History Month as well as some of their wishes and goals. So something that stuck with me today as we talked about partnerships and collaborations is the growth that we're making with maintaining or expanding partnerships throughout the community. And I really appreciate it. I think everyone really appreciates it because everyone is a stakeholder in education. So thank you very much for all of your effort that you're putting into education, from the arts community to equity in education, to building those community relationships, and our college and career technical aspects as well. It's being noticed. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there anything else? All right, seeing none, I will ask for any review of reports or any anything that we have requested.
Madam Chair, I did not record any requests made today.
All righty, good, thank you. All right, so the next thing that we have on our agenda is the school board evaluation. I'm going to adjourn the meeting and then have our speakers that are here to speak to the business of the district, after which we will do our evaluation right up here. So with that, if there is no other further business, this meeting is adjourned. So, Mrs. Simonetti, do we have any speakers?
Yes, ma'am. Board members and Dr. Grego, we have 3 speakers this morning for general public comments. Our first is Nancy Velarde.
Good morning.
Good morning. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, I find I must, once again, bring up the disconnect between management and employee that exists in some Pinellas County schools. There has been incident after incident reported to our office where an employee has attempted a cordial conversation with their administrator only to be told to quit if they do not like the status quo. At one site, the administrator invited his faculty to feel free to come share their concerns. One person took advantage of the invitation and was told to retire. The employee felt blindsided and hurt by the callous response. New teachers are placed on success plans before being given any training, assigned a mentor, or offered any support. These teachers sign up for trainings, but before they have a chance to attend them, they have repeated visits from administrators with unrealistic expectations. Constant criticism is rarely a way to onboard new employees, and rarely do those employees stay for very long. Despite the extensive schooling teachers go through before entering a classroom, most still find the first year quite daunting. I know I did. It took a few years before I was confident in my ability to master classroom management required to sustain a successful learning environment. But I had supportive administrators with advice at the ready, and I attribute much of my eventual success in the classroom to those early mentors. It also appears that a great many minor issues that should be easily settled in conversation between employee and administrator are being sent to OPS. The employee has no prior knowledge as to why, walks in and is confronted. It used to be used as a last resort and should go back to that. Strong leadership should include the ability to resolve small incidents in a discussion between the two parties. They know each other, they have a history, and they share a common goal of improving performance in that site. Punitive leadership is never successful at growing great teachers, just as punitive measures in a classroom rarely improve a child's unruly behavior. Teachers are asked to build strong relationships with their students to bring out the best. We simply believe the same should be done for teachers. Administrators who do not enforce the mask policy should be told to do so. Our successful mask mandate is only as strong as its enforcement. We've been asking for a thorough climate survey, created and conducted in partnership with PCTA for many years now. I believe a comprehensive survey can show us where the problems exist and enable correction. To be frank, I would love nothing more to be proven wrong about the extent of the dissonance in our district. But if we do not bother to ask, we will never know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Michael Williams.
Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Williams. I'm a retired senior chief from the United States Navy. I am from Palm Harbor. Your vision states 100% student success. Your mission, educate and prepare each student for college and career life. January 7th, 2020, a 13-year-old named Jack Martin committed suicide. His parents believed it was bullying. The board's reaction, and I quote from the news, "The parents have not expressed concerns to them about bullying before." The Pinellas County Sheriff had to get involved and do an investigation after his death. Vance Sanders, an Eastlake High School nationally ranked swimmer, took his own life in 2015. His mother believed coaches and teachers failed to see the signs of depression and bullying. In a 5-year span, Pinellas County lost 4 high school swimmers to suicide. Suicide is the third leading cause of death among young people. Results in 4,400 deaths per year, according to the CDC. Bully victims are between 2 to 9 times more likely to consider suicide than non-victims, per Yale. About 20% of students ages 12 to 18 experience bullying nationwide. Approximately 46% of those students are bullied during the school year and notify a teacher, and nothing is done. My son has been experiencing bullying since 6th grade in Dunedin Middle School. He is now in his 8th grade. This was a gifted study program, higher standards than other schools. Dr. Greco, you have an issue in your school system. Bullying is there, and your policy is failing. And I know that as a Clearwater police officer, because I deal with children every day that are going through mental health crisis. And 90% of those children, it revolves back to school. Your teachers and administrators are not vigilant. And it doesn't help that in the past 2 presidential administrations, politics has been brought into our classrooms. 6th graders and 7th graders should not be talking about politics. They should be talking about math. They should be talking about science. Torrin was told by a self-proclaimed woke feminist that police officers hunt people of color and murder them. So therefore, his father is a murderer. Why didn't the teacher put that to an end? Why didn't the teacher stop that discussion? 2.5 years of bullying, we've reached out. Nothing was done. If my son was gay, or if he was a child of color, would something have been done the first time the bullying started? That's my question to the board. And I yield the rest of my time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Greco, as the area superintendent for
I'll
Dunedin
follow up
here,
on
that
this.
we need to follow
Yeah,
up?
I'll follow
Okay,
up.
we will follow up on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There are no other speakers this morning.
Just the 2?
The young man was going to speak and chose not to.
Oh, all right, very good. All right, well then that ends the public comment portion of this, or public participation portion of this meeting. Thank you all very much for attending, and we will do our evaluation beyond that.